Hi there, I'm Julie, and this is my reading update for the month of January. I am filming this much later than I originally planned, but life happens, and here we are in the middle of February. Basically, every month I share the books I read and my Storygraph stats for that month. I love reading. It's been a big part of my life since I was a kid, and I love to share that joy with others. So let's get into it. I have written down what I've got. So, first of all, how do I track my reading? I use Goodreads and Storygraph as my two main trackers. Goodreads I've been using since 2016, and that's the only reason why I keep using it. Honestly, it's super simple and bare bones, and I just want a little bit more than that. So I do continue to track, and I have a reading goal set on Goodreads. But that's all I use it for, is tracking what I read. I don't really use it for much more than that. That sun is... Storygraph, however, is my main tracker. It's how I keep track of the books I own, because you can actually mark the books you own on the Storygraph app, whereas Goodreads, you can only do that, I believe, on desktop, and I just don't go on desktop that much for Goodreads. So I really like story reads. Hey, I really like Storygraph for that. I also really like the stats that it gives me, which is what I'm going to give you today. Alright, so my Storygraph stats. For the month of January, I read 3 books. Roughly, I read 1,584 pages, plus or minus, because how it tracks is how many pages the entire book is. So it's not just the story part, it's also the pages in the beginning, the pages at the end, acknowledgement, stuff like that. I believe. Don't quote me, I don't know for sure, but that's what I believe. So I say, take it with a grain of salt, plus or minus 1,584 pages for the month of January. Physical books versus ebooks. I have a Kindle. Sure, right here. But I also own over 400 books, half of which I haven't read yet. I'm trying to be better about reading the books I already own and not buy. I haven't bought as many books as I have in the past lately. But also I gravitate towards Kindle books a lot because that's what I read in bed at night, and that's usually when I read, is in bed at night. So I usually read my Kindle books. Well, that just leads to having a mass pile up of physical books that I still need to read. For the month of January, I read 3 books. One of those was print, and 2 of them were digital, through Kindle Unlimited, actually, both of them were. So, technically, 33% print, 67% digital. Oh well. I'll take it, My most read genres for the month. All 3 books classified as thriller, and 2 of the books classified as mystery. Clearly, I was in a mood, a dark mood, but thriller, mystery, suspense, those have always been some of my favorite genres to read. Within the past 5 or 6 years, I've also gotten into fantasy. I read romance every once in a while. Historical fiction I've recently gotten into, but thriller, mystery, suspense, horror, Stephen King and Agatha Christie are my 2 favorite authors. So that tells you what you need to know right there. I love them. Okay, let's get into the actual books I read. So I read 3 books. We're gonna go in the order of when I finished them. So first was the physical book. I believe I started this at the end of 2024, but I ended up finishing it in January of 25. Oh well. I count it as January, okay? That's when I finished it. So on January 3rd, I finished The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentile. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. It was a paperback. I don't currently have it because the day I finished it, I loaned it to my sister because I knew she would also really like it. I don't think she's read it yet. Maybe she has. I'm not really sure. But I don't currently have it because it's with my sister. A little synopsis of the book. A woman is writing a story, and sharing bits of it to a writing pen pal in another country. So the author, this is confusing because it's like author within an author. So the author in the book that is writing the story that you're reading in the book, not Sulari Gentile, the fictional author, they are in Australia. So I believe it's a woman. She's in Australia and she is writing the story. And she is corresponding with a pen pal in the US, in, I believe, Boston, the Boston area. So she's writing back and forth with this pen pal in a different country. The story the fictional author is writing is the main focus of the book, and what I was like actively trying to figure out the entire time, like decode and stuff. And that's what I was most invested in. But at the end of every chapter, Sulari Gentile included correspondence from the Boston pen pal to the fictional author of what they thought, what they could do, and it starts taking a turn. It was wild. Like halfway through, you're starting to be like, oh, something's not right here. It is so good. I loved it. Highly recommend. Especially if you enjoy thriller or mystery. I feel like it would be a good like starter mystery. Because it was just super engaging and super like it was wild, honestly. Second book is Deadly Occupants by Mads Rafferty. I found this on Kindle Unlimited. I believe I found it on TikTok, Book Talk, if you will, of someone reading it, or it was a big read in like October. I can read paranormal books like any time of year. So yes, I read this on Kindle Unlimited on my Kindle. Basically, little synopsis here. A group of girls are being haunted by an unknown entity in their shared college house. And they're so plagued by the happenings that they go to extreme lengths to figure out what is going on. I did not see the ending coming. For me, it was a lighter read. Just the context, the way it was written. It was a light, easy read. I finished that one on January 6th. I usually read a physical book and a Kindle book at the same time, so I don't think I started this January 3rd when I finished The Woman in the Library. I'm fairly certain. I probably started it around New Year's Day-ish. Would I recommend it? I did enjoy it. Like I said, it was a lighter read for me, even though some parts were, like, the content wasn't super light. I would recommend it if you enjoy lighter paranormal reads. If you want something more complex, I don't know, maybe this just might be like a good little palate cleanser for you, if you will. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. Yeah. Alright. And the last book that I finished, the third book I finished it on January 15th from Kindle Unlimited. The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden. Okay, let's first do the synopsis, okay? So it's the third installment of the Housemaid series by Freida McFadden. Basically, a neighbor is murdered and someone close to the main character is accused of the crime. But at the same time, there seems to be something going on with her children. They seem more withdrawn, not themselves, and the main character needs to discover, one, who killed the neighbor, so her loved one isn't, thrown in jail. And two, why her children are acting strange. And who knows, maybe those two things are combined. So my thoughts. I really enjoyed the first book of the Housemaid series. After that, they just kind of fizzled out for me. Like, the second book was pretty good. Third one, this past one, The Housemaid is Watching, it was fine. I read it, it kept me engaged, but I wouldn't say this book would convince you to start reading the series. If you haven't read the Housemaid series, you can read the first one and be just fine. Like, I don't think you need to read all 3 books in the series. I enjoy Frida McFadden's books. I know they're polarizing. A lot of people like them, a lot of people don't. They are, like I said about Deadly Occupants, Frida McFadden's books are a lighter read for me. I can read them super quickly, and, well, this one I finished in like 6 days, 7 days. I can usually read them pretty quickly, and it's just a good filler book for me. It's not some, I know what I'm getting into when I get a Frida McFadden book, and I enjoy it. So I thought it was fine. If you're invested in reading every Frida McFadden book, yeah, go ahead and read it. But I wouldn't say start the Housemaid series just so you can read this book. It was fine. So that is my reading wrap up for January. I know this is going out the middle of February. It is what it is. Life happened. The good news is you'll get another one of these in a couple weeks for February. A little note, I've only read one book this February because it's been a month. I started Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros in January, but I didn't finish it until the beginning of February. So that will be included in February because that's when I finished it. If you're so inclined and you want to keep up with my reading progress more like in real time, feel free to follow my story graph, which is Julie_EW. EW. I just think it's funny. I think that's it. Yeah. Alright. Well, that's it. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all later. I don't know, subscribe, comment. Ooh, comment down below if you've made it this far. Bless you. Comment below if you like to read, which if you're watching this, you probably do, I assume. I don't know. But if you like to read and you read some books in the month of January, let me know either what you read or what your favorite read of January was. I'm always looking to add books to my TBR, even though it's hundreds of books long. You can never have too many books on your TBR. So comment below what you read in the month of January and what you enjoyed. And if you have any suggestions for me, I'd love to hear them. Okay, so comment, like, subscribe for more of this. More book content, you know, weekly vlogs, all the stuff. My next one is going to be a writing vlog. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. Because I am an aspiring author. So that's what's coming next. So subscribe if you want to see more of this. Okay, bye.